songs, many instant classics over the last 50 years, they still have us singing out loud.
It's amazing to go and do a show and stand up and start singing and the audience sings the whole song for you. That's stuff that you dreamed about.
But even as an OG in the business, his music reaches all ages.
And I hear my stuff being sampled by the young generation, so I know they're listening.
Legendary soul singer Jeffrey Osborne, today, now.
On the Pulse.
This may be the first time that I was actually singing and almost got caught by our guest today. Mr. Jeffrey Osborne joins us on the Pulse. How are you, sir?
I'm good today, Bill. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Like I was happy. I was telling you when you came on, the mute was on, and it was a good thing because me and my producer, sound engineer, we're both in here talking about woo, woo, woo.
I wanted to hear it. I missed out on it.
Nah, I don't want to do that. Like karaoke is one thing, but I don't know if you sing people's songs back to them. Like you're kind of setting a rough standard, especially if you can't sing. But thank you. I do appreciate you taking the time out.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So I was looking into background information. That's where we kind of start with everybody who comes on to Pulse. Is it fair to say you were born into music? Like your whole family was doing it?
Yeah, I guess I was. Yeah, I was the youngest of 12 in my family, and everyone either sang or played an instrument, so music was all around me in my household.
And you started off, what, playing drums?
I always sang first, but I actually started playing the drums when I was about 15, and that was kind of my way in. The drums actually was the vehicle that got me into the music business. My first job was I walked in on the OJ's one night and they had a drummer that was not playing well. This was in my hometown. And so I asked them if they were looking for a drummer. And they said, yeah, well, you can find me a couple because you're kind of young. I'm like, well, I know a couple of guys in town. I'll send them up and if I can come and audition. And we all auditioned and I ended up getting the job. And I was like 15 years old because that kind of got me really motivated and stimulated, knowing that I could do something on this level. And the same thing with LTD. I met them in my hometown. They were playing in a nightclub. They were Sam and Dave's backup band. They left Sam and Dave. They was traveling up the East Coast. And their drummer got hauled off to jail for smoking marijuana outside a nightclub. This was 1970. So that was a major offense in 1970. Walked in, our club owner asked me if I'd sit in, played a few songs with them, sang a couple songs. They asked me to join the group.
It always amazes me when you talk to performers, particularly successful performers, how easily they kind of gloss over these things that are amazing to the rest of us. You just very casually like, yeah, I walked in on the OJs. I was like, yo, can I play? You're 15 years old, roll in on the OJs, and it was no big thing. Like, oh, I got you. I know how to play the drums.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate because I was playing in a local group and we played the same club that the OJs were coming in. So, the manager said, come on up and see him. So I was at the right place at the right time, and it all worked out for me.
That was in the mid 70s when LTD and everything started kind of hitting. So that means 50 years worth of hits and success. And when you hear somebody say that back to you, what's your response to that?
My response is, damn, I'm old. 50, yeah. It's been that long, 52 years actually that I've been recording. So yeah, it's quite an accomplishment. I'm just blessed that I'm still here and I'm still healthy and I'm still out working.
Is it disrespectful to ask how old you are?
Oh no, I'm proud of that. I'm 75 years old.
Well, and I knew how old you are, but I wanted to make sure it was okay to go ahead and say it because, we're establishing relationships. I'm singing during breaks and everything. We're making sure we're all good. But you sit back and think about that. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment. Not, to make it to 75, sure, but you're still on tour at 75. Like, did you ever think?
No, I never really thought about it. I knew this was something that I loved and that I wanted to do for as long as I could. but I never imagined being 52 years in and still out performing, but I feel like I owe a lot of that to the fact that I've taken good care of myself. I've been running every day since I was 15 years old, and I run 2 miles. I still run every day, still work out. I've been a vegan for 10 years, and then I just started eating a little bit of fish. So I guess you could call it pescatarian, but I don't do dairy or anything. So I think it's all about health, diet, and keeping yourself and loving what you do, and I still love what I do. So I'll continue to do it. I have some of my people that I've come up with in my era that are still performing, and they're older than I am. I mean, like Smokey's still doing it. The OJs are still doing it. I mean, so, it's very possible that you could go on forever if you love what you do and you stay healthy.
Yeah, Smokey's doing it. What's his new album called?
Oh, it's something like orgasms. Yeah. Oh, like orgasms. Okay.
Listen, Smokey's not messing around. Like he's like, I'm not just performing. Smokey's 80 something talking about
Exactly.
songgasm.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's trying to make people think that he's still having them or he's still having orgasms. Or maybe that's it.
Coming up next, questions from you, the audience, and me, the professional journalist. Ask him if he realizes how many children exist because of all the songs that he recorded. No. This is the deep probing journalism that we do here. You're on tour now. You'll be at the Rivers Casino here in Philadelphia, June 16th. But you haven't really even kind of slowed down the show. Like you're still up, performing, dancing there. You're not sitting there on the stool and just serenading.
I get around the stage pretty well. I'll go out in the audience, hang with people. I'm pretty active. But like I said, I've been staying in shape for years, so it's kind of easy for me.
My brother, who loves your music as well, said to me, ask him if he realizes how many children exist because of all the songs that he recorded. No. This is the deep probing journalism that we do here.
Well, I know a lot of people have gotten married to my songs because I got a lot of ballads that people get married to, at least 4 or 5 ballads that I always get requested for the music because people want to get married to it. So I'm assuming, I don't know, and that's a good question. How many babies? I don't know. But I know when I was young and I was out on the road, I used to have my little mixtape of all the slow jams. We all had our slow jams tape, so I'm sure lots happened with that music back then.
Wait, so is On the Wings of Love on Jeffrey Osborne's mixtape?
No, I never had my own music on my mixtape. I never listened to myself until recently. I just started listening back because, when you're out performing, you start performing the songs the way you want to instead of the way maybe you recorded them. So I have to listen back and see exactly, oh, did I sing it that way? I better actually go back to the record here. But yeah, I never listened to myself because I was always perfectionist and I always said I should have done this here, should have done that. Why did I sing that? So I never enjoy my recordings. And now I'm just starting to be able to appreciate what I've done.
I threw out On the Wings of Love and Love Ballad and,
right.
And you could go on and on and on. And a lot of people go through a career trying to get one of those. You've got multiple songs that people will sing back to you like that. I'd imagine that has to feel good even to you.
It's amazing to go and do a show and stand up and start singing and the audience sings the whole song for you. That's like, that's stuff that you dreamed about. It's like, I can't believe this is happening, but yeah, I'm very blessed that I've was fortunate to have quite a few hit records during the course of my career.
The woo-woo song, You Should Be Mine, not the name of the song. But is this a true story? I was reading about, what was it, your daughter or someone who?
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter, she was probably 3 years old at the time. Well, no, she was maybe a little older, 7 or so. And I was recording, so I always come home and play my recordings, for my wife. And then, what do you think of this song? What do you think? And I was playing it, and she kept saying, "What's that song?" I said, "It's called You Should Be Mine." She said, "No, it's not." I said, "What is?" She said, "That's the Woo Woo song." I said, "No, it's You Should Be Mine." She said, "No, it is the Woo Woo song." So I didn't write it. So I called the songwriter. I said, "My daughter said this should be called the Woo Woo song," and they said, "You know what? You got a point there." So they actually put it in parentheses. "You Should Be Mine," the Woo Woo song. So yeah, it's a.
Did your 7-year-old get a co-writing credit for
No,
coming
she
up with
should have. She should have. That's what we used to say back in the day. Write a word, take a third.
Yeah. What are the differences touring, performing, doing all of that then versus now? Have you seen the industry kind of evolve and change?
It's changed so much. I mean, just from the way we record now, back in the day, everybody was in the studio at one time. Everybody played at one time. It was all real musicians playing real music. The bass player would play a lick, the guitar player would play off of them. And there was so much character in the music. Today it's so different. It's like one guy in the studio with a drum machine and all these other technical machines and synthesizers, and you don't get that interaction like we did back in the day. I think that's why that music has so much character. I mean, even when you put on an album and you hear the little cracks in it going around and the surface noise, it just has such a vibe to it. And, to me, it was the singers, it was a bass, drums, a piano, and the singer was the fourth instrument. And they sang like it was an instrument. And today it's just not as creative to me. Mm-hmm. Not to say that it's not more lucrative. It's probably more lucrative, but it's not as creative.
Next on The Pulse, his pretty frank feelings about old school music.
I have a segment in my show called, I call it Old School is the Shit, because old school is.
I grew up at a radio station. My father used to manage WDAS here in Philadelphia.
Right. Oh, I love DAS.
But I remember as a child, people like yourself and others were always coming to the station. Like, it was different then. You would come there, you'd be in the studio with the DJs, talk to them, sing maybe if you were there.
Right.
But you were so connected to communities and things then because, I guess you had to be. And I feel like some of that is lost also.
I mean, that is the major connection to people that came up in my era was radio. Radio was amazing. I mean, especially black radio. They played everything off of our albums back in the day. You didn't know what the single was. They just played everything. And even the mom and pop stores, when you think about it, you used to go into those mom and pop record stores. You walk in, they come in, they'll play stuff for you. Hey, listen to this, listen to this. This, you don't get any of that today. It's just so different.
Now, do people still, because I know that this generation of musicians, and some of them have been on, and a lot of the ones that we talk to, they have a high level of respect for yourself and others who came before them and kind of paved the way. They know your music, they respect your music. Has that been the case? Do you think that you get that level of respect from the industry? It's changed, but they still acknowledge the trailblazers.
I think so. Yeah, without a doubt, because I run into a lot of the young guys and they always tell me that they're listening to my stuff and I hear my stuff being sampled by the young generation. So I know they're listening. But, and I have as much respect for them as they have for me because I admire how they went about building their careers, especially. It was so different from our era. Our era, we did not branch out and we didn't come together and do records like they do the younger people. They're, you look up and they're on everybody's albums. They come together and they collaborate and they do records and they're all over the place. So you're hearing them, you're hearing Snoop on this record, Snoop on that record, this one on that record, this one on that record. We didn't do that as much back in the day. I didn't really want to leave LTD, but if I wanted to grow and evolve, I had to. Otherwise, I couldn't branch out. So I do see the big difference in how they conducted themselves and how their careers branched out because they collaborated so much. That's beautiful.
Still on tour, coming to Philly, as I said, June 16th and 17th. Some tickets still available, but I encourage people to get them. What's a Jeffrey Osborne show look like in 2023?
A little bit of everything. I cover a lot of the LTD. Those were some of my favorite years. I mean, it was great working with a group that was self-contained, four horn players, learned how to write, learned how to orchestrate and so I do a lot of LTD, and then I do a lot of stuff with my solo albums. And then I might even do anything. I'll jump off and do a piece of someone else's song. I have a segment in my show called, I call it Old School is the because old school is. And I have a segment where my bass player comes out and play a few lines of a song, and the audience knows it immediately, which is the beauty of old school. And so I do a little bit of everything on my show, and I really try to connect with the audience, and I really try to involve them and bring them into the show. So it's a fun show.
So you never really stopped putting out music, but you now have another album.
That album was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So I haven't had anything recently. I'm writing now though, and going to put together a little package, maybe an EP package, and I think I'm just going to put it out and test the market with my fans. Just give them something to listen to. I'm not really feeling signing with another record company. It's time to do some stuff independently here. And, there I go. I'm learning from the young folks,
Hey, listen, the young folks own it. They own everything, so they can get most of the money.
That's the beauty. That's what I'm saying. That's how everything has evolved, and I love that.
Coming up on The Pulse. I don't put people on the spot, so if you don't want to, we will edit this part out. But you can give them a little something if you want to. So can we get Jeffrey Osborne to maybe give us a little woo, woo, woo? Flying high upon the wings of love. You've had a foundation for years. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I have a foundation. It's the Jeffrey Osborne Foundation. I was born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. Celebrity golf tournament there. And it's been, probably 15 years into my 15th year. I haven't done it since COVID, but I'm doing it again this year on July 10th and 11th. But I started it, and Magic Johnson was my host for the first 5 years. He hosted it for me, and, we had incredible. Smokey comes every year. The OJs come. Johnny Gill comes, Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. We jam on top of having the golf tournament. So I get incredible celebrities. Chris Tucker comes, Dr. J, everybody. It's a great tournament, and I give all the money to 6 different charities in Rhode Island. So, I've been giving away almost $2 million to charities now in my hometown.
You see Smokey, tell him you might want to chill on the Songgasm.
I see Smokey. He's a really good friend. He's probably one of the greatest people I know. But yeah, that shocked me too. I was like, what?
That made you double take. When I saw him on the show, he got introduced. I went, wait, what? Like, oh, okay, Smokey.
But he's in amazing shape.
He can still sing.
Yeah, no, his show is great. No, Smokey got it going on.
So you're clearly still loving this and just going to keep doing it, keep passing on your knowledge, keep performing, keep reminding people that old school is the ish.
That's right. I'm definitely going to keep doing it. I mean, I'm assuming somewhere down the line, I'll probably want to slow down a little. The fun of traveling has gone, but the fun of being on the stage is still there. And so I still have that love, and it's my first love. I definitely love that over recording because it's the interaction, the chemistry that you have between you and yourself and the audience. So I'll probably keep doing that for a while.
I just feel like it would be cool for Pop to be Jeffrey Osborne. We talked about your charities, we talked about your shows, but when you hear "use your voice for good," what does that phrase mean to you?
That means stay connected to the people, to the communities, however you can. Not just singing, but you have the ability to influence people, and you have to realize that, and you have to, be responsible, make sure that you stay responsible, and use your voice to help any situation that you can, and I think that's important for all of us.
I don't put people on the spot, so if you don't want to, we will edit this part out. But you can give them a little something if you want to.
Oh, okay. Well, can you woo woo woo? Can you woo woo woo? Can you woo woo woo? Should be mine.
See, that's exactly why I didn't sing it when you came on. Because I'm not going to be the one who's on here cracking all up and then you actually do it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I appreciate you.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it. All right.
Loved his energy, loved the fact that he's still enjoying this, loved the fact that he very clearly can still sing and has so many good stories. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I want to remind you that you can listen to the podcast any place that podcasts are available. Just hit subscribe or like or follow, whatever you have to do to get a notification every Monday. And I leave you today, as I always do, reminding you that whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.